Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fleeting Thoughts, an Altered TCG podcast, part of the Maindeck podcast family. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about the exciting time of the Altered TCG Kickstarter. And we also had Maindeck Dan go on a special trip to get some sneak previews that he might be able to talk about some of the stuff he saw there with us.
Yeah, Jordan, this is the most exciting. This is the second most exciting time of the year for Altered. I'm going to call it the second most because the most exciting is when we're going to have the cards in our hands.
I know, I'm pumped.
Hopefully July is when they plan to deliver. The Kickstarter now is live, and the Kickstarter has been live for about a week. And, well, Jordan, in our last episode, we both predicted how much money this would make. We said ultimately, but I've been telling people, no, we meant in the first week. Because, yeah, as of recording right now, it is over $2,200,000 and climbing.
Yep.
Oh boy, which was your top end guess, and above
well,
mine.
I wouldn't say top end because remember, I don't know what the quote is. I say quote. I can quote me in saying I said they'll make at least 2,000 or 2
Oh, that's
million.
fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I knew they'd break the 2 million. I had the confidence.
They've got more stretch goals coming too, so we're just going to hope that it continues to climb. We continue to unlock some more value. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the Altered TCG Kickstarter? That is, by the way, the link to the Kickstarter will be down in the description. You haven't checked it out for some reason. Maybe this is your first time learning about Altered and you got two excited dudes talking about it in your face. Go click on the link to check out the Kickstarter. But Jordan, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going quite well. Obviously, they were funded immediately. As soon as the floodgates opened, it blasted up. I think they were past 1 million by the first end of the first day here in America, and around 10 or 11 when I went to bed, it was already above 1 million. I think they have a lot of good stuff on offer. I feel like some of the stuff that they revealed later, they maybe should have revealed a bit earlier. I get why they want to keep the hype going, but some people will look at a project and then they just don't look at it again. Like if they're not convinced, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm done," and they don't follow it or anything, so they won't get these juicy updates. And some of them are really good, like the acrylic game pieces and tokens and the little map slot-in thing. Those are all super sick, along with some of the other things that they've unleashed and the stretch goals specifically. I know some people, unfortunately, in Kickstarter will just look at the stretch goals and they'll be like, "These are lame goals, I'm out of here." And then again, they won't come back to see any updates, and they've been updating it and releasing it over and over. The second we meet a goal, they're right there with one or two more goals that look just as enticing as the last.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in. We'll talk a little bit about, we got a few things to talk about. Obviously, the stretch goals are a huge thing to talk about, exactly what they're offering in this campaign and some of the cool accessories, and just we can give our thoughts on all of that stuff. As well as you said, I do want to talk about my visit to Paris over the last weekend, which unfortunately caused the illness that I have that has been delaying everything and has made it very difficult for me to record things. I'm sure it's noticeable in my voice right now, so I do apologize to everyone in advance that I've just got congestion and everything from I blame the Paris Metro. Those trains are just packed in at busy time of day, and I'm sure I got all manner of crud from the people there, but we'll talk about that all in just 1 second. Before we're just going to go crazy. So before we get too far, I do want to mention the 2 ways that you can support Maindeck. If you enjoy Fleeting Thoughts and our other Maindeck podcasts, the 2 main ways you can support us are, number 1, by leaving positive interactions, likes, comments, and subs on the YouTube videos, or those wonderful 5-star ratings. By the way, I think our Altered listeners have been top notch at rating us 5 stars on the apps. Super, super huge thanks for popping in those ratings on iTunes and Spotify, because those are awesome. Those help other people see that we are producing content that you enjoy. So it really does help. It's really meaningful. So thank you guys so much for doing that. You can always do that kind of stuff. And then if you want to support us financially, if you play any other TCGs than Altered, you can go to TCG Player if you're in the US or anywhere where they'll ship to you. and you can use our affiliate link in order to buy cards for your other games there. We have an affiliate link down in the description below, or you can type bit.ly/shoptcgs into your address bar, and that'll bring you to it as well. Doesn't cost you anything extra. We do get a little kickback from that, and it is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys so much for that. Now, Jordan. So I think the stretch goals are well, before we get there, just on the basic level, what is the Altered Kickstarter offering to people? Should we let's just make sure we make that really clear to everybody. What's on the page?
As far as just their base offerings, we got a couple of. They actually kept it small and concise, and then they have a lot of add-ons that you can get on. So they have for the first one, comes in at a modest. They're listed in euro, I believe. I don't know what the conversion is immediately in my head.
Euro's fine. Euros. We got an international audience here, so let's go with euro.
Yeah, so 13 euros will give you a starter deck of your choice. The next one is, I'm reading the wrong list.
You are reading. I was like, wait, no, this is false information.
Yeah, sorry, I started with the add-ons for some reason. So, Discovery Pack coming in at 24 euros, which is 6 euros less than what the MSRP is going to be on these bad boys. You get to choose 2 of any of the 6 starter decks, and you will get those. And of course, you'll gain access to the add-ons, which we'll go over later. The next one is the Expert Pack, coming in at 149 euros. That'll net you a booster box, which comes with 36 packs and 2 decks of your choice. And then there's the Master Pack, is going to be 4 booster. I was about to say cases, 4 booster boxes.
I wish.
And 2 decks. And then the final one, the Divine Pack, coming in at a very large jump of 4,990 euros. And that will net you 42 display boxes, 42 booster boxes, and all 6 starter decks. I shouldn't say all, because it just says 6 starter decks. I'm wondering if you can choose. So if for some reason you really just wanted 6 copies of one, I'm wondering if that's an option.
Really,
the other ones
I really like Axiom.
2 of the 6. So, but yeah, and then you also get 6 signed prints, and they will be signed by the entire development team, and 6 uncut sheets, which they've further elaborated is going to be 3 common sheets and 3 rare sheets.
I think it says 5 uncut sheets, right? Is that?
Nope. There was that was a clerical error. They've since rectified it. It was supposed to be 6, and they put the wrong number in, and now they have fixed the image on the Kickstarter. Now it does.
Radical. Nice. Okay, yeah. So just 4 options, but then a bunch of add-ons, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But just kind of looking at the numbers, it's kind of interesting to see. We have about, at the time of recording, 1,061 people have backed at the 2 starter level. We have 3,775 backers at the 2 starters and a booster box level. 1,073 at the 4 booster boxes and 2 starter level. And so the Divine Pack, when they launched the Kickstarter, actually started at 20, limited to 20 slots. And after about a day, they unlimited it entirely. And it's up to 84 people who are like, yeah, give me 42 boxes of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that they did that, because the main reason that they decided to open it up, partially just because they were getting so many people that were like, we want more, but there was some, you always get them in games like this that are prominent and big. There's a lot of scalpers that snap them up, and on a lot of different TCG Discords, we're immediately posting like, hey, I got 2 or 3. They made like multiple accounts to like snap up the 20 Divine Packs, and then they were immediately trying to flip them already, and the developers were like, nah, we're not having that. We want people to enjoy our game. We're not about the scalper life. Let's just make them not limited. As many people as they want can buy the Divine Pack.
As someone who will gladly go on record as saying, I am here for the joy and the fun of playing card games and the social activity. And I wouldn't be doing this channel. This isn't like everyone knows this isn't like an investment channel. I'm here because I enjoy TCGs. I enjoy having fun with TCGs. Seeing that immediate reaction of people coming in these Discords being like, you could pay me $500 if you want me to unlock a slot so you can buy a Divine Pack. I was like, this is just garbage. This is just awful. And it was so cathartic to watch them say like, nope, it's just unbound now. Yeah, anyone can get it. Absolutely anyone can. I love it. It was super in line with Equinox's core values of just, again, inclusiveness, just letting everybody get in if they want to. And at the end of the day, I see the reason why you want it to be limited to really make those like uncut sheets like rare and exciting for people to chase and everything. But at the end of the day, it's not like there's going to be like that many divine packs sold still. It doesn't mean like 5,000 people are suddenly going to drop $5,000 on divine packs. So like it's still only up to 84 people, which is like 4 times what it was, but just a drop in the bucket compared to the other 6,000 people backing this Kickstarter right now. So that was awesome. I just really enjoyed that. So we have all these basic levels, and then we have a bunch of add-ons, and add-ons have basic stuff like more starter decks, booster boxes. Right away when they launched this Kickstarter, everybody was like, I've seen you guys using cool acrylic tokens and everything. Like, where are those? Can we get those? Are those a stretch goal? And clearly they were just kind of like holding some of the cards back so they can continue to surprise and delight people as the Kickstarter went on. And after a few days, they unleashed those add-ons as well, which I immediately added on the entire, acrylic all my stuff, please. As someone who can't help himself on like board game Kickstarters and gets like the deluxe components all the time, I was like,
spends triple the amount of the board game on an extra component.
Yeah, let's exactly. Go. I the whole package to get every acrylic thing, the deck wallet, which I've actually, the deck wallet is their special deck box that has a slot to put your leader in and everything. I have held that in person. I have examined it in person. I've felt it. It is a wonderful little product. So I was excited for that. You get all those components, the deck wallet, the center tray for your map cards, the one of the Kickstarter playmats of your choice. That whole package was €130, the exact same as a booster box. And I thought, I don't know, I guess that seems reasonable to me. Like, it's unnecessary. I don't think it's certainly not something you need to play the game, but it felt like a pretty good deal. A lot of high quality extra stuff to increase my enjoyment of the game for just the cost of one more box. I was like, I'm okay with that as someone who buys a lot of boxes of card games.
Yeah. And in addition to the standees and the premium markers, it also comes with a playmat. And a set of sleeves of your choice.
Oh yeah, it came with a set of sleeves too.
One of the other add-ons they have is a bunch of art sleeves of the originally shown, original 6 characters.
I can say too, I've used those sleeves. And generally art sleeves are kind of garbage because they break
to protect them
really fast. These ones are good, actually. GameGenic is doing something special with their production of these. I think it's the same as kind of like their prime sleeves. It's that like dual matte type of sleeve, but whatever they're doing on the back, these things were holding up pretty well to the actual shuffling where they weren't really getting marked up. So I don't know if I would trust them for 10 years, yeah. Right? But I don't trust any sleeves for 10 years. So
yeah, I got the vibe that they're sleeves that you won't have to oversleeve in order for them to look good.
I think that's probably fair. And at least at the point where they'll start to wear down is probably where any sleeves would have realistically. So yeah, they're good.
And the art sleeves, I think they're cool. I'm glad they're there, but they're not for me. I don't know. I always like the back of my cards looking either like the card backs, which one of the art sleeves they have is just the card back as a sleeve, which is probably what I'm going to be selecting. But yeah, I don't know. I can't put my finger on why I'm not a big fan of art sleeves. I always just like the basic color, or like I said, like the design of whatever the card back is. So they have both accommodations. If you're an art sleeve person, they got them. If you want something more basic, they also got that.
Yeah, it's a good amount of nice little accessories right now. I'm happy with that. I've gone in and so full disclosure for everyone. So I'm backing the campaign. Jordan's backing the campaign.
Oh yeah.
I will absolutely say where I'm currently at in the amount I'm backing it, just so people know. And I want to be really clear too. I think we've said this before, but like, this is not me telling you to back at a certain amount or saying that you're going to miss out if you don't back at whatever. I just think some people are going to ask me the question anyway, so it's just going to be like I'll just get the information out there. So currently, I'm backing at the €500 master pack level to get the 4 boxes, and then I've added on currently 2 booster boxes, so I can just get like a case. A lot of games I invest in, I like to buy a case to get a good play set of everything or most things. And so I don't know, I might add more still, but I'm at a case right now. And then that adventurers pack of all the tokens and everything. That's my Jordan. Where are you at right now?
I knew it was coming. So originally I selected this because they were running out fast. So before they made the Divine Pack Unlimited, I backed at the Divine tier. I am still debating on whether I'm going to downgrade to a Master tier with supplemental things, because the problem I was having is the price per box is better if I get the Divine tier. And one of the solutions we were going to do anyway with like the main deck team is a lot of us were basically in on it anyway. So I thought we would get a Divine tier and just split it. That way we'd all get basically the same amount of boxes we were going to get for a little cheaper, and we'd get each a print or something, like depending on how we split it, somebody would be getting prints and uncut sheets in addition to the other stuff, and with cheaper box price essentially. So we're probably going to go some direction of splitting in some way. If I end up keeping the entire thing, I will say I'm not going to keep it all for myself. I'm probably going to end up selling some to make back money, because yeah, like in American, that turns out it ends up being like $5,500, and that is an insane amount of money to spend on cards. So I'm for sure, even if I end up keeping the whole tier, if no one wants to split with me, I'm most likely going to be keeping like half of the boxes and then selling them until I make my money back, or a reasonable amount back where I feel okay spending. Then I will keep whatever is left after I hit that benchmark. And I don't know, maybe because it's such a monumentous game, if I do truly believe it's going to be super big one day, I'll keep a handful of boxes for the long term, because the Kickstarter boxes, assuming they hit the next stretch goal, will have like special art on the box for the Kickstarter versions. They have some of the stretch goals, which we haven't went over yet, increased like drop rates in the Kickstarter boxes specifically.
Yeah, let's talk about these stretch goals, because this is actually, as someone who's seen a lot of, I'm actually, I have the dubious honor of being referred to as a super backer on Kickstarter, unfortunately. So I've seen a lot of Kickstarters, mostly for board games, but I watch all the TCG ones too, and I haven't seen a TCG do their stretch goals quite in the way this is. Typically, stretch goals for a TCG are adding a bunch of promos and stuff. They'll be like, every backer will get this promo, and every backer at this level will get this promo, and at the stretch goal we have a new playmat art unlocked that you can add on, and at this level you get an extra pack. They actually did that one, so that was unique. But what they did in this Kickstarter is that for almost all of these stretch goals, they are upgrading the drops within booster boxes over and over again, like incrementally adding more and more stuff. So we have things like they have added, a lot of these have added alternate art cards, which are exclusive to the Kickstarter edition. And the fact that they are alternate art, excuse the coughing, the fact that they're alternate art actually is relevant too, because it means that they're also going to have that limited print on demand ordering system, where you can only order once per year or something of those alternate art ones, to keep them kind of like fairly actually exclusive to what you open in the Kickstarter. So those are going to be really cool because when you open like a unique Anubis, for example, in the Kickstarter, or unique Shenlong or something, it's going to have a different artwork than the retail unique one is going to have. It's just going to make it actually even more unique.
Yeah, and for those who don't remember or didn't know yet and are tuning in, uniques are one of one mechanically as well.
Yes.
So not only is it cool that you're going to have a unique with an alternate with a special art, but no other card is going to have those effects with that art in existence. So
those effects at all, just to be clear, there isn't going to be a repeat of uniques from the Kickstarter with the original art either. But it just makes it a little more special. We do have an episode all about where we talk all about the impact of rares and uniques in the game as well, which you should check out if you haven't checked out that one for our thoughts on that. But we've got a bunch of alternate arts. We've got the addition. This was kind of cool. The addition of the promo 2023 and promo 2024 cards as rare drops within the booster boxes as well. So those were previously exclusive, especially the 2023 ones, exclusive to random people who heard about Altered before everything else. And there were understandably people just feeling a little left out by that. Because like I never had it's 2024. I never had a chance to even learn about that. And I really like the game and I want those promos. They're so cool.
And the 2023 ones, like most of the events that you can get them at were like closed door invitation only. So if you weren't like, for some reason we were chosen, but like at the time, because we are not a big channel, as most of you guys know, compared to some of the other channels that were there. But like we were approached at Gen Con to go to a closed doors event, and they only had a small amount of people in each session, and they gave out the 2023 promos then. And then there was a few road shows in 2023, but like Dan said, if you weren't in the know about it already, or happened to be in the like near the three locations that they had at 23 which most of the other ones were in Europe, like there's no way you would have ever been able to get them.
Right. So it's really nice. Even as someone who is holding some of those, I think it's awesome. I think it's great to have more access to those because they're very nice. They're very cool promo cards. And they're going to be somewhat rare drops, although it looks like a lot of boxes are going to exist for this, but they're just cool to have.
Rare,
yeah, I think they're still going to be quite rare.
Some of these other ones, they have the specific drop rates for everything, and they've been updating them as like they reach new tiers too. So yeah, they'll still be pretty rare as from what it looks like.
Yes.
So, like the promo cards have a 0.12% drop rate.
That's pretty rare.
And yeah, so like they'll still be pretty rare. So for the people who are worried, like, oh well, now they're going to be devalued, it's like yes, but no. Like they'll be devalued more than they would have been, but they're still going to be hard to find.
They, speaking of drop rates, some of these have just been increasing the drop rates of cards in the boxes. So drop rate of rare cards is higher. There are of extra rare cards. So you get a fourth rare card every 4 boosters now, instead of 3 in every single booster. Extra foilers will exist that you can use to foil out cards in your collection every 6 boosters right now. Oh, I'm sorry. The drop rate for rares we unlocked every 2 boosters. Sorry. Every other booster will have 4 rares now. So that's sick.
See, and keep in mind, that's not a guaranteed either for those listening. It's still just a chance.
Right. On average.
Yeah. So there is a non-zero chance that you can pull 4 rares out of a pack. They even have it broken out even more. So it has like each card slot and what respective slots have a chance to drop it. So like slot 9 has a 50% chance of being a common card and a 50% chance of being a rare. Slot 10 is your normal guaranteed rare that's going to be in all boxes. Slot 11 has a 99.3% chance to be a rare and then a 0.7% chance to be some sort of promo. And then 87.5% chance for slot 12 to be a rare, and that one has 12.5% chance to be unique.
That's right. Some of those rare slots upgraded to the rarer drops as well. Sorry, it's just getting to me here. They have also added on the foil heroes within the booster packs in the stretch goals, which is cool. They've said in the retail release they can't do foils, and that's just because of the process of doing the QR codes with the digital printing. But they, with this limited Kickstarter release, they have basically said they are able to, through these stretch goals, add in foil heroes directly into the boosters, which is nice because it means we'll have access to foil heroes before the print on demand service is live. And just you should be able to have all your heroes you like available in foil to pick up, which is pretty cool.
And those will be a lot of foil heroes.
Yes.
Because those are a guaranteed foil hero in each pack.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of them, a lot of foils.
Which, at first glance, some people, again, might be like, oh, well, from a collector, like, oh, those are going to be so devalued. But remember, in this game, once you have something and then you foil it out, you can print it foil whenever. So, like, that's not a huge deal if all the character cards and packs are foils, because you can basically foil out one character and then just print it on demand a million times.
Yep.
So,
and then we have the addition of free boosters, which is nice. So one of the complaints, now we still have more stretch goals to go. And I'm looking forward to what some of the other potential upgrades to rarities and things might show up here as we continue to progress. But one complaint that people had about this, which I understood, was that, we got about 1,000 people again backing at this just 2 starter level, and almost none of these stretch goals impact the starters at all. But the free booster actually added a free booster to those discovery packs, as well as putting an extra booster into every display. So all those backers just got a free booster with that, as well as every display you buy comes with a free booster too, which is nice. That's good. What are your thoughts on that?
I always like that. Games that include a booster pack in it, I think, is great because it nudges the new player experience in the right direction, because it gives them a little bit of variety that they can, if they're. It brings me back to when I first started playing games. Like, I'd buy Magic, and it would just be the deck, and you just had the pre-con deck, and that was it. Part of the fun and excitement of TCGs is being able to modulate your deck in any way you see fit. And it adds that little preview to, like, hey, you have these cards. You can swap this out for that. Or you get a cool, especially if you get like a cool card in your booster pack, and you're like, oh, I can put this sick card in my deck now and battle my friend with it. And it just helps cultivate and get your thought process on how you can change your deck, or maybe some upgrades that you might want to do. It's a good marketing move too, because since they'll start thinking about that, they're more likely to want to purchase, booster packs, stuff like that. But it just adds that exciting moment, because part of the excitement of card games too, if we're being honest, we all love that pack cracking life. I mean, some of the best live streams is people just opening booster packs up, because even if you're not the one opening it, it's just exciting to see what people get, and it gives you that little burst of unknown excitement, which I think is great.
Yeah. How do you feel overall about how they approach stretch goals in this campaign?
Like I said, my main grievance is just they're not releasing more information on the upcoming ones. They only give the next 1 or 2 that are maybe available, which may turn some people off. Now it's not as big of a deal now that we're a week in, because there's so many stretch goals that are unlocked. People can look and be like, oh, there's all this stuff that got added. They're probably adding more, kind of deal. But other than that, the actual things that they've added, I think, are neat and unique. I like that they're doing different art for the stuff for Kickstarter. It's a way of, kind of like how you said, of having the promos there, but making the promos a little more exciting, because you still got to do that chase for them. It's not just going to be, oh, I get this stack of promos because I backed. It's, ooh, I have a chance at getting this sick promo, and it gives you something to look forward to. The increased rates I actually like as well. It makes the Kickstarter boxes inherently more valuable, and makes the people who are backing up front, without giving them like a mechanical advantage, it gives them more bang for their buck, which is a good way to incentivize people to take that risk of joining early.
Yeah,
Without, like I said, without making it bad. Like instead of giving them some exclusive card that is just going to annihilate people, it's like you're going to get more money, more value for your money. Most of the cards people want is the rare and uniques and the foil cards, and this just makes it so if you're buying a Kickstarter box, you have a higher chance of getting the things that you're going to need more of.
the way I like to think about it is that when you are backing a Kickstarter, even one that I think is like a, a sure thing like the Altered one, it's there's still some amount of risk. You're putting your money down and you're giving it to someone and you're hoping that it pans out. You're hoping that you get a reward listed and you're hoping that you're supporting something that is going to build into something bigger, something that, especially in a TCG, something that will go on for a longer period of time. So it's a little different than when you go to your store and you just go like, I'd like a box. And they go, here's a box. And you go, okay, thank you. You just like an immediate exchange of currency for goods, where this is like, you're putting some money in and you're just like, well, in 5 months, I will hopefully have a box or whatever coming my way. So there's an inherently some amount of risk to it. And I appreciate that instead of just, adding in a bunch of a stack of like promo cards that every single backer of the 6,000 plus backers here gets, like a whole bunch of them, they put them on the shelf over there. Okay, there's my promos. Like, cool. And then they don't look at them again or whatever. It's just building in a higher, I'm going to say value, but when I say value, I mean, it could mean financial value, but I really mean like just more cards, more stuff, more things that you are buying this to get, right? More value in that way for your purchase, which just helps make that risk that you're taking feel like it's got a little bit more of a payoff. Right. And it just I think it makes it feel a little better to buy in to the Kickstarter at this early stage. And especially as we keep hitting stretch goals, the boxes keep getting more exciting. And I don't think, I'm going to go on a limb and say, I don't think that they've shown the coolest upgrades to the boxes yet. Because it seems to me like it's just kind of building and building and building, right? So there could be some other cool stuff coming past this mark, and if it continues to increase, then we might hit some stage where some stretch goal gets unlocked, and then suddenly, well, a bunch of people who are already backers might go, oh man, boxes are getting really good. Maybe I should put another box in. Maybe I should put another box or two in or something. And that kind of allows it to build on itself and helps make the product better for everybody too, which is I think that's really cool. Provided you're buying a booster box. So what do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that the stretch goals, only one stretch goal really tangibly adds value to the people at the starter deck level so far? How do you feel about that?
For that, I'm indifferent. I feel like they
Confirmed.
should
Jordan
have at
hates
least.
you all.
I do think that they need to do something for the starter deck, which is why I was hoping some of the other like add-on features would, like when they release them, they would be the acrylic tokens. I was thinking, well, maybe they held them back because it'll be a stretch goal, and then they'll add that as a stretch goal to specifically the starters. So it'd be like you get a set of the acrylic tokens of whatever the deck is as part of your starter package. And I was expecting that to be the reveal when they did it. They haven't done that, which doesn't mean that isn't a stretch goal later. Like for all I know, maybe the stretch goal right around the corner is going to be like, included in any starter deck is going to be a pack of the acrylic tokens. Because I think that would be a fantastic way that everyone from the lower tiers all the way up to the divine tier would gain benefit from it. It's something that basically probably everyone is going to want. I mean, there's probably some people out there that are like, I don't want acrylic tokens. Get them out of here. But it's something that everyone would enjoy having with their thing. And I think that would be a great addition. But as far as what else they could add to make the starter decks better, I'm not sure what they could do outside of just like giving packs which have the boosted rates, or maybe like, see, I'm not sure. It's hard to think of something that would be a good starter deck specific like increase or boost that would be meaningful in the same way as the other ones are for the boxes.
It's like it's tricky. I mean, like ultimately at the end of the day, like doing a Kickstarter like this is I don't envy the team for having to set this up, because you have to create an inclusive Kickstarter where people can get in on every level. Like you can't just be like, the only way to kick this is to back this is backing $500, right? You can't do that. That's absurd. Yeah. But at the same time, you can't go, well, everybody who backs for $5 is going to get $300 worth of stuff guaranteed. Like that kind of thing is like, because you know what? That's not $300 worth of stuff. That's not you like, if everybody can just get it for backing at the absolute smallest level, it means that it's not anything that's actually like worth that much. Now I like these goals. I like these goals that are like, here's a free pack. You know, everybody's backing the starters should get a free, like, I hope there are a couple more of those. I hope everybody who backs the starters gets 3 free packs, you know, and every booster box has 3 free packs in it or whatever. I think that's awesome.
And I could see even like there's some smaller stuff I think that maybe they already have, like I said, maybe they have planned, that I think would be good and adequate. For example, like in the same vein as like a booster pack, maybe at like the 3 million tier, because this again will affect everyone. But more so the lower starter deck tiers is you get an extra, they'll get 3 starter decks instead of 2. That way they're still getting something that has a great value. It's at that entry level with them, because like you said, if they're just kind of dipping their toe in, it'll give them just another faction to explore, maybe another friend to give a deck to get them into the group and get them in there. And it's not going to be too bombastic. And that would be, something that would incentivize the lower tiers to get excited, because then they're like, oh, I'm getting literally like, a third of the value for free now because I get this extra deck. And that way they get, like I said, they just get to explore more of the game, and that would be pretty decent.
I think that would be awesome. Like every person who's at 2 starter decks, well, now you can pick a third one for free. And I think that would feel really good. I think that would feel really rewarding to the people who are at the two starter deck here would go, oh, that's great value. And the thing about the starter decks is that, and adding like individual booster packs, as long as you don't have a whole box, is that you're not really devaluing things, especially with the starter decks, because the starter decks are just set amounts of cards, set exact cards that you're going to get. And you're just making it easier, I think, for people to explore the game. So I am before people take out pitchforks, I am fully supportive of getting good rewards added in to like the lower tiers as well via stretch goals. But I'm unsupportive of ones that I think sound good but actually backfire in practice. So hopefully that's fairly clear now.
Very much so. And so that is our current thoughts on the Kickstarter and what it has to offer at this moment in time. Because again, it's got 22 more days. Who knows how many more stretch goals are going to be unveiled? And Dan kind of nudged the fact that he thinks that there's at least 1, maybe 2 really, really cool ones that have yet to be revealed. Because as we said in the beginning, another thing we're going to transition over to is, Dan, tell us about your exciting inside scoop when you went to the special Altered TCG event in France. Because you haven't actually talked too much to me about it. I've been excited for this too, just so I can get some like exciting reaction to some of the stuff that you did. I've heard a few things. As Dan said, he was sick too, so like talking wasn't the greatest. Even in our like private Discord calls when we're playing Guild Wars or whatever, like he didn't want to talk very much, which I don't.
I didn't do anything for like 5 days. I just like died in bed.
He appeared for the Kickstarter launch in Discord, and then after like 10 minutes, he's like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna go now. Goodbye."
Yeah, it was pretty rough. But the event itself in Paris was really great. I'm planning on putting out a Patreon podcast that is like super, super in depth into what I experienced there. But the key takeaways that I have from that experience were that I was truly, truly impressed with the passion and excitement and humility of the Altered team. Just getting to interact with them in person. I throughout that weekend, I had deep and fascinating conversations with I don't even know how many different members of that team who just wanted to sit down and share their passion and share their excitement, and occasionally pick my brain for some thoughts on, just from an outsider perspective, on some things. But mostly just sharing their limitless excitement for the game that they're creating. From narrative lore design to game design to Kickstarter to organized play, lots and lots of just true passion that these people have. I unfortunately couldn't talk a lot with Regis because he doesn't speak a lot of English, just enough. But I listened to a lot of French conversations that I didn't understand. So I didn't take away a lot from that, other than they are really passionate sounding even when they speak in French too. So that's cool. But I had my first night there. After I had my own little adventure, which I'll talk about more on the Patreon podcast. We don't need to talk about that here. But then I got in touch with them on that Friday night, and they said, "Well, you should. We're all still in the studio. You should come down." And I got the pleasure of just getting a tour of the studio from Loki Knox, Loki, who's one of their community managers, and he showed me just kind of like all the different like where the sausage is made, right, is the way to put it, which is just really cool. I got to see like the algorithm on the board for how they do uniques. I have no idea what it means. It was crazy math. It was crazy. I just got to take a look at everyone's battle stations. There were just it was like 9-ish, 8 or 9 p.m. And there were a bunch of people there just like working and chatting, and we had a few drinks too as well. But the team was just, they were hard at work. There was a section that were like, I didn't even bother them. I think it was the digital team. They were just working like late at night, all hours, because it's everyone there. They talk about the company a lot. They talk about how they have a fairly like open structure, a fairly loose structure. It's not so much like he supervises you and you have to do everything he says kind of thing. It's more like they're a team and they're all on the same page, and everybody is free to bring their own thoughts and feedback and criticism and ideas, and hopes and dreams and everything onto the table. And everyone just kind of discusses things. And it seemed like a real just understanding, like the people were just there to achieve something, to complete this project. And they were all working on it, not because Regis was like cracking a whip on them, but because they wanted to achieve the goal. Everyone was on the same page. So that was really cool. That was really fun to see. And fun to just, again, chat with people there. The next day, we had myself and many other influencers, and playtesters and the developers in the game. We had like basically a full day celebration. Started with handing out a bunch of goodie bags where everyone got like the demo decks, and a bunch of GameGenic, the sleeves that are in the Kickstarter, which we all got to use, and some play mats and everything. And we all just got to play. A bunch of people had to learn to play who were coming in there, play Altered. There were a bunch of names that I knew from TCG space. Cedric Phillips from the Magic community was there. MTG Goldfish, Pleasant Kenobi. I had a pleasure just meeting a bunch of those people who I hadn't met before. There were people from the international board game space there. There was someone from the UK, from Dicebreaker. She was cool. I got to meet her. I got to meet oh boy, I'm trying to remember his name. He's a German fellow who does board games, and he was really fun. He and I were kind of like buddied up for a while, and we were playing games. His name was Johannes. And we played some games of Altered together while other people were like demoing and everything. And we talked about a lot about like cultural differences in gaming and everything. I met Julia from the Italian community, and there were a bunch of people in French communities who were there. And like, it was just like lots and lots and lots of people. And I only spoke one language, and it was kind of tricky sometimes to navigate that. But yeah, so we started, we learned to play the game. We had a lot of fun. I already knew how to play the game, but I helped Johannes out and made sure he was all locked in. Because I think he was doing a German how to play video also. And then after that, we did the one of the two super fun things for the day was we all broke in. They had us all pick a faction. I picked Muna, obviously, and we all broke out and did a faction battle, basically. So every person was with 6 other people. You were a 7-person team for your faction. They sat you down. They handed out 3 of each hero starter decks. So they had these like there were 30 card demo decks using all 18 heroes. We had 3 of Teja, 3 of Arjun, and 3 of, I can't remember her name, the one with Orchid, something in Orchid, the mantis lady. Rin. I remembered it now. I knew I could get to it. So we had all those, which was really cool because there were a bunch of heroes that none of us had seen before. We were like, what does this do? This hero seems sweet. I played Arjun, and Arjun, I'm not going to give you his exact effect because we signed NDAs, and they kind of, it was like they were kind of like cool. You could talk about stuff. That's fine, but I don't want to just like give away the exact effect because that'll allow them to still like show it off later. But Arjun had an effect that involved anchoring your units. Whereas Teja, the one that we have in Muna already, is just about putting boost counters on them. So it's kind of like the other side of the coin. That in Teja, you kind of want to anchor things and use Teja to put counters on them. And Arjun takes care of the anchoring, and then it's like, how do I put counters on these things? So I get a lot of value. And then Rin was a very different effect than either of those two. Rin is very interesting. But I played Arjun, and we started demo decks, and we faced off against another faction. And our very first round as Muna was against Izmir, I believe. And Izmir had a lot of removal effects. And Muna got like hosed. We got really destroyed. Because we were just using demo decks and we just didn't have like access to a lot of stuff. But after that round, then they said, okay, now you're going to upgrade to full decks, and you can use 3 rares. Basically, we upgraded from demo decks to starter decks, right? We then had a full deck, but with full 39 card deck, but with a few rares in it. And they put out a bunch of piles of cards. But the thing is, we had 7 players in Muna, and there were not like 21 cards in each stack. So what we had to do is we had to go like, okay, let's see. So you 3 are playing Teja. So these might be good cards for you guys. Do you guys want to play these cards? And then these cards will be good for the Rin players. And then these cards are good for the Arjun players. And the whole team was like strategizing, trying to figure out how to properly dole these rares out so that everybody had access to, basically the strongest decks that they could. Without one person just kind of like hoarding everything. And Moon is all about sharing. So we were all very good at sharing our cards and being friends. And then we played against Ortis. And I believe it was Ortis. No, we played against Lyra next. And Lyra was another really tough matchup because Lyra had a bunch of really sweet removal type effects too. They have a card called Twinkle Twinkle. There's a card called Twinkle Twinkle, and it just puts your stuff to sleep. And so Asleep isn't something that they've shown much in like the demo games, although if you've been playing an Exalted, you do have access to Asleep. So you might know a little bit more about the interactions with Asleep. But the key thing about Asleep that you have to understand when you're talking about Muna specifically is that Muna anchors things, right? Muna likes to anchor its stuff in and grow it. And Anchor says, at the end of the turn, During the rest phase, I don't leave play and I lose anchored. And Asleep says, during the dusk phase, I don't count. And then during the rest phase, I don't leave play. Nothing about Asleep says you don't lose the anchored counter. So the thing is, when you put an anchored thing to sleep, it stays there anyway, and it loses the anchored counter still.
Rip.
Even though it doesn't count during dusk. Yeah. So Lyra was also hosed us. Like, I think we got maybe one person got a win or something, but like we got pretty hosed across the board again. 2 very, very rough matchups. But then it got exciting because then the next round they put out a bunch of rares and they're like, okay, now you all get to use up to 15 rares in your deck. And then we were like, all right, here we go. And we started crafting and coming up with some really cool decks. And my deck got over the next round or two, they put out a few more cards, but like over the next couple of rounds, my deck started to get fairly refined. And I was loving it. It was a really fun deck. It had some really cool interactions. It had some cards that haven't been spoiled yet. That I had like a mini plant typal thing going on in my deck. And there are some cool plant payoffs beyond the ones that we've seen in the starter deck. Some cool cards that are quite powerful in plants. And the big thing that I was really loving about this was that it was really fun to explore the different ways that you can choose different rares to put in your deck and totally like adjust how your deck plays. Those out of faction rares are huge. They can change everything about how your deck plays in really, really interesting ways. So it just really, by the end of this, we got hosed at the end of the day. We were the last place faction. Unfortunately, we tried, but we had some tough early matchups and could just never quite put the wins together, I guess. But I had a lot of fun. I really, really liked my deck. And that was just a super fun experience. And I'm just more excited than ever to deck build and play Altered.
Nice, nice, nice.
Do you have any, I have one more thing to talk about. Do you have any questions about what I've talked about so far though?
Nothing. I was actually just going to ask a question to you about something else that I know was done there because they've released a couple pictures and it had it hinted in the background of it.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's what you're going to go to. So I'll let you keep going.
Okay. Well, there were 2 other things that we were doing that night. We're already an hour, so I'm not going to go too in depth into this stuff. But they said, "Do you want to draft?" And I said, "Yes, I want to draft." And I drafted. And draft was awesome. Draft was really, really fun. Draft is threading a cool needle in Altered, where it is simultaneously different enough from the actual game, where it's a unique format that I think you will seek out to play, without using those annoying, like, I'm not really playing the same game draft rules that some games are required to use in order to make draft work. The main difference in draft is that when you draft in Altered, it's 4-pack draft. For people who aren't familiar with draft formats, you take a card, you open a pack, you take a card, put it down, you have that card now, then you pass the pack usually to your left in the first pack, and then they take a card from it and they pass it to the left, and you get past a pack that had a card taken out of it, and you take a card and you pass it to the left. So you keep doing that until you've drafted a pack. Then you open up the second pack and then you pass it to the right. And then you do the same left, right, whatever. Excuse me. So we drafted a 4-pack draft, and you have to draft heroes as a part of the draft. At some point, you better make sure to take a hero. That's just something you got to do. Don't not take a hero. Please take a hero. You need to take one. But you will draft a deck, and your deck can be your heroes faction as well as 2 more factions. So it is a 3-faction deck that you're playing, including your heroes faction. And that is, in my experience, I've done a lot of drafts for games where it's just like, you can draft anything. and you don't even pay attention to resources anymore. It just doesn't matter, whatever. And there's games where it's like it's the same game, so you have to like be quite strict. Like, I'm playing a mono thing deck, I'm playing a 2-color deck, whatever. This is interesting because you do have to pay attention to draft signals, to colors, to what people are in. But you have this interesting freedom now where it's like, okay, I'm playing a hero where boost counters matter. Okay. So what factions can I do really wacky stuff with if my boost counters matter now? Like, there are a lot of cool synergies between a lot of different factions now where you'll find, like, here's a simple one. You know how easy it is for Muna to anchor things? Have you ever wanted to all in with Lyra and roll a 6 and put 6 counters on something that is super easy to anchor or is already anchored? You can do that. You combine those two. And then you can throw in Bravos to have access to even more counter shenanigans or seasoned things on Bravos that will keep their counters when they go. You can put out a Bravos thing with seasoned, all in it to roll a 6 and put 6 counters on it, and then anchor it. So it's going to be out for 2 turns as a 7/7/7 or 8/8/8 or something. And then when it goes to your reserve, it's going to keep those counters. You can play it again and anchor it again if you want to or whatever. Like, those are the cool interactions that you get when you get to combine the factions that way. That after I ended up drafting, I was like, I'm going to see if I can build a controlling deck. And I tried to. And it worked actually pretty well. There are some fun, and they haven't shown some spells off yet that control players will really, really like. And I had a deck that played a really big dragon that did not leave play. It just didn't. And so my game, I was like, I'm just going to control the game and then put the dragon down. And then eventually you're probably going to lose because the dragon doesn't go away. And I'll also add, it gets bigger every turn also. So it gets every turn, it just gets bigger, and it doesn't, it like literally has a keyword that we haven't seen yet that says, I don't leave play, is literally the reminder text of, or I don't leave play at rest, I think is what it says. It can be answered, but there are ways to protect it too. So, yeah, so draft was really fun. I really enjoyed that. Was that what you were going to ask about, or was it the other thing?
It's the other thing.
Okay. Because I was drafting, I did not get an opportunity to play multiplayer.
No. I was really hoping to hear about it.
Someone told me how it works. Okay.
Based on the picture I saw, I think I have an inkling, but I'll let you tell everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't play it, so I don't have the exact rule set, and that's actually my get out of jail free card. I don't know the exact rule set to use, but it was described to me by someone. And they said, I was like, so how does the multiplayer format work? And he said, it's actually both something like people just aren't really thinking about, but also the most straightforward and obvious way to do it. And I was like, that's weird. Okay, what do you mean? And he said, it's just 2 games played in an X. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? Is it, well, you and your opponent are there, and you and your partner are there, and you and your opponents are there, and I believe it's you and your partner across from each other with your opponents in between. And so you are racing on the hero side against one person and the companion side against another person. And it's that way across the table. It's wild. Actually, it makes sense. You just cross over the 2 maps and then you play that way. And I don't have the details. So I don't have like the exact like win condition. Like you might have questions about win condition stuff. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, that's one of my main questions, because I assumed based on the picture it was like your hero lane is against the person on your left, and your companion lane is against the person on the right. But I was like, well, what happens if someone who you're not fighting wins? Does everyone lose and they win, or like,
no? It's only going to be people you're fighting. It's you and your partner are trying to meet in the middle, right?
Oh, it's a team thing.
It's team.
Okay.
It's it's 2v2.
So it's like Scram, where the person across from you is your teammate, and then the person across. Okay.
Yeah, so it's as I believe. Again, I didn't get to sit down with it, but it's you and your partner are on opposite sides of these, and the people you're racing are the people to your immediate left and right.
Gotcha.
On each side. Okay. So those are the people you compete your numbers against, but you're trying to get your hero to your partner's companion, your partner's companion to your your partner's hero to your companion.
Okay. All right. I'm excited to see that unveil more. That'd be sick. Or if they have any other cool things in the works for potential multiplayer, that'd also be very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting. I think it looks like it would be a really, really cool format to play. Very straightforward. They said it works super well. Like, people are really digging it. However, there are definitely strategies that are stronger than other ones. And they, and I think that's okay too. They said that, like, there's potential metagame that you could have where, like, one person plays the Izmir, just like bouncing everything, and the other person just like Bravos, like, I'm just putting things down on the board, and the Izmir player is just bouncing the things that are getting in the way of the Bravos player effectively the whole time. But yeah, well, I mean, we'll see when we get the full rule set, but that was the basic gist of it, and it sounded quite exciting. They also have a free-for-all one that they're working on too. That's couldn't tell you, and
I'm very excited about too, because I love free-for-all modes. Like, it adds, like, when you just got the homies there, it's the best way to just, like, include maximum amount of people and just have the classic tabletop politics of, well, he's about to win, so let's just all gang up on him for a bit, and then someone backstabs you at the last moment, and the great moments with your friends. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, that's the stuff I got to see and do, and I got to meet a lot of awesome people, and it was just an incredibly fun experience, and I would love to go back again, just without the whole getting sick thing afterwards. This hasn't been very fun.
For sure. Yeah. So is there any other exciting things that you learned there that you're able to talk about? Because I know there's a handful of stuff you said you just can't talk about at all, period, to anyone because of the NDA. But is there any other interesting tidbits that you can or want to reveal?
I don't think so. I'll just say that I've gotten to see all the hero cards now, and I was pretty impressed with some of the design space they're exploring. There are the other heroes. They definitely did the most basic heroes in these starters and demo decks. And I think if anyone out there is like, I wish, there were I wish they had like an effect that really made me think hard and stuff, and more complicated play, and like control strategies were stronger or whatever, I guess you got plenty to look forward to. Don't worry.
That excites me so much. But yeah, so you guys heard it here first. Be excited about the Kickstarter and the things to come in Altered, as if you guys already weren't. But as the day comes to a close, those are our fleeting thoughts. Thanks for watching, and tune in in 2 weeks. Actually, it'll be a little less than that because this one is a little late due to illness, but we'll see you guys at least in 2 weeks. Again, thank you very much. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.